From blockchain to real estate, Max leads with vision, innovation, and relentless drive to make a lasting impact.
Jake and I started Digital Ascension Group about 3 years ago, working on projects together. We've built out a mastermind community that's got a little over 6,000 members in it now. I like to learn, and I feel like it's always something that there's more information out there that I want to make sure that I'm getting other people's perspectives and understanding things at a deeper level than just what's available on general social media posts and blog articles. The reason that book exists is just SPVs were something that were always really interesting to me, and I really saw the power of being able to pool capital for an investment that way. I think that the main thing is just trying to find problems that people have that I can solve that no one else can solve. It's come a long way. It's been definitely like a labor of love putting it all together, but I think that we have a really good product now to be able to help people pull capital for whatever their investments are. I'm excited for where we're going to be a year from now with it. I think that there's a lot of room for people to start making use of that, especially with new investment rules and regulations coming into the space. Find a problem that needs solved and solve it. And that's the easiest way to set up a business and find ways to make money, is that there's always going to be somebody who says, I wish that there was somebody that did X, Y, and Z. And if you can be the guy that does that, you got a business.
Hey, what's going on, family and friends? Ray Fuentes here. Welcome back to another exclusive production. Today, I'm sitting down with a builder who's quietly shaping the future of digital finance from the trenches, Max Avery, Chief Business Development Officer and Principal at Digital Ascension Group. Max is a powerhouse strategist known for turning complex problems into growth. He's earned national recognition, including the President's E Award, serves on influential councils spanning blockchain and real estate, and brings a deep toolkit, R3 Corda developer, Duke's blockchain business models, Consensus Academy, and more. In this episode, you'll hear how Max and Jake Claver met on X, launched Digital Ascension Group, and built a mastermind of 6,000 members, then spun up platforms like Syndically and Digital Wealth Partners. We also discussed Wealth in Numbers, the book that Max co-authored alongside Jake Claver, deep diving special purpose vehicles, SPVs. And of course, I asked Max to give us his 5 to 10 year view on crypto adoption. And we also discussed how Digital Wealth Partners may soon be your preferred brokerage account for not just digital assets, including XRP and soon HBAR and AVAX, but traditional investment products as well, which should skyrocket their assets under management to $1 billion in no time. So if you're curious how SPVs, tokenization, and real institution workflows are converging, and you want a no-hype blueprint from someone who's driving real adoption, you're in the right place. So let's roll the episode with my dear friend Max Avery of Digital Ascension Group. Thanks for tuning in. Love you mucho. Hey, what's going on, family and friends? We're back with another exclusive production. Today, I'm joined by a leader reshaping the world of digital finance. He's in the trenches building an empire alongside Jake Claver, who was recently on my channel. Let me bring him up onto the stage. Boom. There he is. Meet Max Avery, Chief Business Development Officer and Principal at Digital Ascension Group, a powerhouse strategist known for turning challenges into growth. Max brings over a decade of experience advising top institutions and raising capital. He's earned national honors like President's E Award and serves on influential councils. From blockchain to real estate, Max leads with vision, innovation, and relentless drive to make a lasting impact. Max, how you doing today, sir?
It's quite the intro there.
Oh,
I'm doing well. How are you?
it's well deserved. Thank you for joining me today. I was expecting you to be hopping up onto this stage with that glorious skyline backdrop like Jake, but you know what? You being man pulling all the strings, I think are you in a basement somewhere? Where are you at, Max?
I'm in a building in Arkansas, so I tend to stay out of Texas for the most part. It's a lot quieter up here for me to get my work done. So I've been in this office going on 11 years now. So.
Good for you,
but
Max.
I am remodeling it at the moment, which is why it looks kind of like empty. So,
hey, well, you know what? You got the American flag behind you, and that's most important.
I got the Kappa Alpha Order flag.
Oh, excuse me?
Yeah, it's Kappa Alpha Order flag.
Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry about that. Hey, to kick things off here, before we dive into your area of expertise, do you mind giving a quick take on who you are for the benefit of the audience, sir?
Sure. Jake and I started Digital Ascension Group about 3 years ago, working on projects together. We've built out a mastermind community that's got a little over 6,000 members in it now. And then we've also worked collectively to build platforms like Syndically and launch Digital Wealth Partners together. So it's been a lot of new startup work with both of us in the sector, but we've both come from pretty extensive backgrounds of different things. And so it's been a good relationship for us to be able to push things forward for everybody.
Man, this time flies. I have a photo up on screen here of us from the XTC conference
Yeah,
way back in, I think, was that 2022 or 2023? But
it was
it was just,
22. Yeah.
yeah, I think it was. You're right. And that was when I was still wearing Link 2's jerseys. But do you mind? Can we talk about how you and Jake first met?
Really just on X. We were both in a few of the same group chats talking about digital asset things and had spent a lot of time in just different spaces together talking about strategy and wealth protection and things like that. It's something that I've had a lot of interest in for various purposes over the years for entity structure and how to segregate and silo things, and had an affinity for some of the things he was talking about and appreciated what was going on. And we just started working together on building something bigger.
Yeah. I remember those days when you guys were continuously on X hosting X spaces on Sundays. For me, it was right when I had to go to church. So I get up a little bit early, try and hang out with you guys for
Yeah.
as long as I can before stepping in. But man, you guys were very dedicated and making a big splash. And so kudos to you today, because fast
Yeah.
forward now, you're on billboards on near NASDAQ and just really making a presence for digital wealth partners and everything you're working on. But before we talk about DWP and what you're working on under the hood, I want to first dive into your area of expertise, Max, because when I was doing some deep dives on you, sir, you've got some really interesting certifications as far as your R3 Corda developer, blockchain business models from Duke, the Consensus Academy certificate, and more. For those in the audience, just so they can see how decorated you are, what originally sparked your interest in pursuing all these certs, and how have they shaped the trajectory of your career as of late?
I like to learn, and I feel like it's always something that there's more information out there that I want to make sure that I'm getting other people's perspectives and understanding things at a deeper level than just what's available on general social media posts and blog articles. So I try to
Yeah.
dig into topics a little bit deeper. I don't think it's necessarily changed the trajectory of anything so much, but it's probably given me more perspective on how some things work, so I can talk a little bit more educated about what I see for how platforms are going to interact and where the future everything's heading.
Absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity to participate even in your Beyond Broke mastermind group. When I was seeing how things were piped out and laid out, is that you setting up all the systems in place?
A lot of it's been me. I've just done a lot of web stuff over the past 20, 30 years. And so it's just one of the tools in the toolbox that I've managed to tinker on that and get it put together. So I've got a couple
Yeah.
guys that help me out with it now just because we have so many more things going on. But
With everything that you do have going on, do you mind if I ask you your approach to how you take on the strategy and operations in your day-to-day business, especially in this new world of digital finance?
I think that the main thing is just trying to find problems that people have that I can solve that no one else can solve. And so a lot of what I do on a day-to-day basis is try to find what holes exist in what we have going on. And I have the skill set to accomplish those and just start knocking out pegs, because there's so many little bits of the minutia that go into building a company and building a product out that you need some people that can serve in that Swiss Army knife role to do those kinds of things. And so it's pretty typical that you'll see founders in various enterprises be a generalist and then hire specialists for those specific things. And so I've been a generalist in a lot of different positions that I've done over the years, and it's served me well. And that is that I can't necessarily do everything to the fullest extent, but I can take huge chunks out of the process for people. So that way, when I do have some people to go in and do the finishing touches on it that are the last 10%, we can knock it out a lot faster, move quick, and try to get things done in the most reasonable time frame possible. And I think that's really the only way to do it, is just grind it out and make it happen.
And this is a perfect example of your drive, your efficiencies, and your domain of expertise as well. When you told me about how you wrote a book, and then when I purchased it and opened it up, this isn't just any type of book. This is a deep research manual on not just special purpose vehicles, but the private capital markets. And I was very impressed from the graphics to again, the deep research. Max, how do you do this, man, while running all of the companies? So again, this is just one of the many initiatives that the Wealth in Numbers, the book that you wrote and co-authored alongside Jake and such. And truthfully, no disrespect to Jake, I really think you're the man that was putting this all together and
Yeah,
gluing the pages together.
the way that we did a lot of the planning for it is I would get the outline pages that I was working on, kind of draft my notes. And then Jake tends to not want to spend a lot of time writing necessarily, but he's great at just off the cuff riffing on a topic whenever you want to go through it. What really has worked well for us on that was that I would call him, say, these are the bullet points that I have right now. What else do you think I need to add to it? And how are we going to fit it together? And we would talk through the process, and I would just take a whole bunch of notes and went back and hammered it back out. The reason that book exists is just SPVs were something that were always really interesting to me. I started working on SPVs, doing real estate deals with a few friends of mine that were deep into the multifamily game some years back. And I really saw the power of being able to pool capital for an investment that way. And it's something that made a lot of sense for me at the time because I was seeing it firsthand. But I realized that anytime someone would ask me, how does that work? I didn't have a good resource to be able to share what to do with them at all. There's just
Yeah.
there wasn't a book that existed. And Jake and I, in building out Syndically, people can use the platform without having to know all this stuff. But a lot of times people want to understand what they're doing and why. And maybe they don't want to use our platform. Maybe they do want to do it manually. It's just a lot more legwork to knock it out. But I just felt that it was a good step to put something together so that people actually had that kind of access available rather than having to know somebody to explain it to them step by step or just sit there and try to figure it out.
Obviously, you mentioned that you had experience with SPVs
Mhm.
when pulling capital together with your community or your network for their real estate deals. But now,
Mhm.
with on the screen here, Syndicately, which you referenced earlier, being a platform that can do just that, but at
Yep.
scale. Did you apply the information that you knew from the book to Syndicately, or is it what you learned from Syndicately and your past experience to write the book? How did you approach that?
We were doing SPVs manually first. I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years ago, something like that's when I first started messing with them at all. And so it's something that I had the knowledge and skill set to put those together, but hadn't used a platform. It had all been manual, just work with an attorney, drafting documents, writing everything down. And we weren't doing huge groups of people. So it was a little bit easier to handle the process and making it happen. When you've got 2, 3 people going on an SPV on top of you, then that's a little bit easier to manage than 15, 20, 30. But it was something that made a lot of sense to me to have a platform to do that, as some of the deals that Jake and I have done in the past
Yeah.
had significant amounts of LPs that way. And it's a lot of work if you are trying to do everything manually on paper and keep it all straight. There was a few other platforms that we had looked at in the past. Syndicately was referred to us. They're originally a family office was founded that platform for their own internal use. So they were original investors in Algorand and a few other projects. And Jake and I started running deals on the platform, and they had built it out to a certain point. But then they realized that now they had this solution that they didn't really want to be an operator, because being an operator is a lot of extra work sometimes. And they wanted to move on. And so Jake and I acquired the IP from them to be able to get the platform from what they had done. And then essentially, just because of the what we wanted to build for future use cases to be able to tokenize SPVs and do all those sorts of things, just completely took the platform down and rebuilt it from the ground up with the team that we have. It's come a long way. It's been definitely like a labor of love putting it all together, but I think that we have a really good product now to be able to help people pull capital for whatever their investments are.
Have you had a success so far using Syndicately? Do you mind sharing?
I hate to mention any specific clients, but we have people coming to us doing private equity deals, real estate deals. Jake and I have ran a number through there in the past ourselves for different private equity and companies. And it just makes it easier. And it's something that we're still going through the process, making tweaks and adding features. And the team's been doing a really good job of kind of finding out where gaps exist in other platforms that have limited features that people want, and trying to figure out ways to implement things to make what we have bigger and better and more robust in the long run for that. I'm excited for where we're going to be a year from now with it. I think that there's a lot of room for people to start making use of that, especially with new investment rules and regulations coming into the space.
This conversation definitely hits home with my former employment back at Link2 with their aspirations to tokenize SPVs, but they're going through some turbulent times right now, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
Not really. It's one of those that I hate to see people make mistakes, and everyone does. And
Mm.
hopefully they are able to get it sorted out and learn from it and avoid future issues.
Hey, shifting gears here, moving on to our next favorite topic of discussion, crypto, digital assets, XRP, D for all the above. You're in the front row to this explosive growth of the crypto industry. You're driving it, Max, you and Jake. So, especially with your work at Digital Wealth Partners, do you mind sharing your take on where the industry is headed over the next 5 to 10 years and what's positioning you to be a leader in the space?
There's going to be continued adoption for tokenized assets in ways that a lot of companies probably won't really even realize that they're interacting with crypto. I think that's the ultimate end game for how this stuff starts to play out is that companies will be adopting technology platforms that are running on crypto rails that they don't have any idea that's actually what's driving the ship for them. We're starting to see some of that kind of thing happen now with things like real-time settlement coming into play for people, with instant settlement on stocks through platforms like Robinhood and things like that starting to come together. The average user is not going to care or know that this is being ran by blockchain rails to make that kind of thing happen. Similarly, for payments, using payment apps like Venmo or Cash App or anything else like that, using stable coins is probably going to start being integrated in a way that it just is a value that you're sending. They don't necessarily need to tell you what it's transacting in. So I think that as time goes on, that'll become more and more the case. But it's also at the same time that with a pro crypto administration, with pro crypto regulators, companies are more open to having the conversation now.
Yeah.
I just went up a week ago. I had a pretty sizable company in Northwest Arkansas that had some questions about how they could integrate blockchain into their operations for interacting with retail and their vendors and things like that. And they were really just open to learning about what they needed to be looking at, what kind of systems there were, what kind of options there were, and how blockchain might be able to make their life better. And they talked about some legacy systems that they're still using from the 80s that once they understood the power of being able to transact this data in a secure and instant way, there was some bells starting to go off in their heads of what if we could get this built and how can we streamline our systems to be able to interact with it this way. And so I think that you're going to see more and more people from different demographics that don't really care about the wind moon or token price or anything else. They just care about the utility and what value it can provide their business to be able to grow their business and reduce their bottom line costs. And as that happens, you're going to see more utility come into the networks. And of course, that's going to drive more demand for the tokens.
I have up on screen a graphic from Ripple Swell, the
Mhm.
speaker list. You're seeing the leads of Fidelity, of BlackRock, the
Mhm.
largest institutions who have already come out and spoken, like at the Ondo Summit. I believe it was Cynthia representing Fidelity, how they were building and experimenting in this digital landscape for the past decade. And so it's just very telling, like you mentioned, how there's a convergence that these traditional firms are going to be adopting and leveraging these cutting edge systems. And then their customers or communities will have no idea that they're interacting with these Web3 rails. Are you going to be going to Swell? I believe Jake mentioned during our interview that he's going, but then you guys are flying immediately to another
Yeah,
conference.
we'll be at Swell both days. And then Blockchain Futurist in Miami is overlapping with that. So we'll be there the second day. A Futurist in Miami. Jake and I are both speaking on different panels. They haven't given us the times yet, but they'll be on the 6th because we won't be there on the 5th.
Do you mind sharing what you're going to be talking about?
They haven't told me yet.
Okay.
So they said they were finding what panels they had that they wanted to put people on, and they're still moving things around. If you haven't been a Futurist, it's been a Canadian conference for a long time. It's an interesting group that's put it together, and they focus on having a lot more fun at that conference than some of the other ones that I've been to. So it's
Mhm.
definitely not stuffy. It's something they've been trying to elevate their speakers and the education that goes on there and make it a little bit more informative than it has been. So I've seen some of the additions to the speaker lineup this year, and it's quite impressive for the people they're bringing in for it. But they have still not got their full lineup together for who all that's going to be as a result. We'll see where I land, but well, I think that it's going to be an interesting conference there. Last year was really informative. They had a lot of initiatives that they were wanting to hit that have all gotten the box checked so far. We're past the SEC case. We've got RLUSD launched. We've got XRP ledger integrations and amendments that have gone live since then that were talked about, and a lot of new partnerships that are starting to be unveiled. So I'm excited to see who else ends up being a speaker and what else they end up talking about this year, because I think we'll have a lot more exciting stuff to come.
Maybe you'll get the presence of the Donald Trump, Mr. President of the United States. That would be pretty dang cool.
He's a very busy man, so I don't know,
Oh,
but we'll see. Yeah.
just like you. Maybe you'll have a digital twin and be all over the place. But with that being said, Donald Trump just recently passed that now 401k investors or people with 401ks can now invest into crypto through their 401k, as well as the equity of private companies. So let's call it startups as well. What are your thoughts on that initiative?
It's a great thing for individual investors to be able to make decisions for their future. And there has been so many rules and regulations that have been put in place that were designed 100 years ago to allegedly protect investors, but have really been twisted into a way that it's done more harm than good. in that you still have publicly traded companies that are available and investable to retail that have been complete rug pulls and complete scams.
Mm.
And then you've had at the same time lots of really good startup opportunities or private equity real estate deals, things that people would probably be glad to throw money into that's been held away because they didn't meet the accredited investor criteria, or they were trying to invest through a retirement account and didn't have access, or any of these types of things. And so I think anytime that you have the ability for people to open up their own decisions with that, it's understand that all investments come with risk. And this is not financial advice and all those kinds of things when you're looking through material. But at the end of the day, if it's your money, and I feel like you should be able to invest it in what you want to invest it into, people are getting scammed on what the SEC has called big legitimate companies that have gone public. It hasn't protected investors in any way, shape, or form to try to stonewall them out from those things. I think if it just increase the disclosure requirements, increase the transparency on what's being invested in, and let people put their money where they want it to.
A startup that is making some big waves at the moment is Digital Wealth Partners, Max. You're at the helm of. Recently played an interview featuring Connor McLaughlin, who's an advisor at Digital Wealth Partners from the XRP Las Vegas conference earlier this year. And he mentioned that you guys have already grown assets under management to, I want to say north or near $400 million, including two different funds. Have anything to say on that?
I don't want to say I'm at the helm of this operation because it's headed by Max Kahn as the CEO. I do my part in making introductions and handing things off, but I really don't have a lot of direct involvement in any of the operations process that's gone on over there. I handle some side business development initiatives since it's a portfolio company of Digital Ascension Group. And some of those things might have overlap where I'm able to make an introduction to the members of their team to put those things together. But as far as the numbers they've been able to achieve, the hedge funds have got right around $250 million in XRP invested right now. I'm not sure where that's going to be at the end of next month. I know that they've had some other people in the pipeline, I believe, but I don't know where that is at the moment.
Yeah.
Total AUM right now is something like $700 million. It's really right now been that some of the assets are held away because they have not had the ability to onboard and custody all of the assets that people want to bring over at the time too. And there's only so many hours in the day to onboard new clients. And I know I don't want to give a timeline on it, but Anchorage, who is the custodian partner as the primary custodian for Digital Wealth Partners, has said that they're going to have HBAR custody available in the very near future. So I think we'll be able to onboard a significant amount of clients that are cold in HBAR. There's a lot of people that are holding Avalanche that have been on the outside waiting to figure out how they want to onboard into this and put some things together. So I think we'll start seeing some new AVAX clients get onboarded as well. The main things right now too is that there's going to be the ability for traditional assets to be brought over as well with Digital Partners, because it's been completely crypto native and all of the assets have been digital assets. And so starting, I believe, next week, they're going to be in a position that they can start going out to clients and bringing over assets from their traditional brokerage as well to be able to handle stocks, bonds, everything else like that. So one more step to bring in the full package over that way so people aren't having to deal with multiple advisors in multiple places. And then also insurance products that are going to be rolling out in the very near future as well.
Very cool. Hey, FYI, I still have my PNC license. So keep
go.
that feather in your hat. Hey, a few minutes that we have left. I appreciate you sharing your time with me. I'd like to leave the community with a little bit of inspiration. This entrepreneurial dream, for me at least, has been just a wonderful ride. And to be in the trenches right alongside you has just been really thrilling as well. For the dreamers out there that aspire to leave a dent in this world, what's a good starting point, or what's some resources or a foundation or practices that you practice that you think would make an impact?
I think the main thing that I see people get held up on is there's a lot of people that have a good idea and no actual execution, or maybe they have some execution, but they have no follow up. And you can make a bad idea work if you push hard enough on it. And there's so many people out there that start out with a good business. They have a good product they want to sell. They have a good platform they want people to use, whatever it is. But maybe they start having clients reach out to them, or they have a good conversation and they just don't reply to their email or don't respond to the voicemail that they got or have anyone follow up on those kinds of things. And I have said for the better part of 20 years that I owe most of my success to answering my emails. That's really a big part of it. It's a cliche thing, but find a problem that needs solved and solve it. And that's the easiest way to set up a business and find ways to make money, is that there's always going to be somebody who says, I wish that there was somebody that did X, Y, and Z. And if you can be the guy that does that, you got a business.
Yeah. The team at Digital Ascension Group, Digital Wealth Partners, Beyond Broke, Syndically, they're very fortunate to have you as an advisor, as a leader, as a teammate. You and Jake are great men, and I'm really just proud of the success that you guys have achieved and accomplished in the short amount of time. With that being said, Max, I know that you're a busy man and you've got places to be. Is there anything top of mind that we didn't discuss that you think would be great to leave with the audience?
I don't want to give the dates out yet, but I can tell you that we did get everything in the pipeline for us to do a very large event in Texas. We're looking at November 2026, venues rented. So keep an eye out for that. I think that we're going to have some really good speakers and make a big splash there to fill some of the gap in the market for big crypto events in Texas. Something to look
Awesome.
forward to, more details to come, but yeah, it'll be good.
Hopefully, I have a chance to either MC or at least be in attendance and take a selfie with you, Max.
Yeah. I think you'll be impressed with the size of this one. So
It's going to be even bigger than the last one.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Good for you, man. Good for you guys. Again, proud of you. Well, Max, if there's nothing else, sir, this has been a very thrilling conversation. And I'm excited again. I'll just put the slide up for those to learn more about Digital Wealth Partners, or to also reach out and follow Digital Ascension Group as well. Are you guys taking on any clients there?
Yeah, there's a family office concierge service is a new initiative that got launched. And so having a concierge there for every aspect of your life management. So assisting with things from documents to travel to bookings to everything that you need. That's been something new that they've been onboarding clients for right now. It's kind of the first step in getting involved with working with the family office side of things as a client, is having access to those services and assistance. So
Yeah, kudos to you guys. Hopefully, my investments will mature to a size that I'm able to knock on your door and reap the benefits of the services of Digital Ascension Group for the family offices. But Max, if that's all, sir, I'm going to let you go and allow you to enjoy the remainder of your day, weekend. Thanks for stopping by, Max. And hopefully we can have you back on the channel soon, maybe as we get closer to either Swell or your upcoming event in November. But
yeah,
in the interim, we'll continue to cheer you on and the team at Digital Ascension Group, DWP, and on. And again, just to keep me in mind if you guys need any help with the Digital Fusion Summit. And everyone tuning in, thank you for stopping by. Make sure you're following Max Avery across all socials. Reach out anytime you have questions or updates. Thanks again. Love you mucho.
appreciate it.